Hello people, welcome along to the second of my free GTO Wizard tutorial videos. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about bet sizes. But before watching this video people, I suggest you watch the first of my free GTO Wizard tutorial videos, and that was on the pre-flop ranges, because it's important you understand pre-flop ranges before getting into bet sizing. But for those who are watching me today, I'm going to help you understand better why GTO Wizard uses different bet sizes. Right, first off I want to mention these things. When it comes to bet sizes, the way I look at it is we've got block bet size, merge bet size, polarizing bet, and geometric bet. Now I have 4 bet sizes myself plus a geometric bet, but I wouldn't suggest you have 4 sizes yourself. I would start off with just 2 sizes at max. 33%, which is like a merge bet, which is also blocking, and 75%, which is like a merge but polarizing bet. And you could also use a geometric overbet on turns only, and that's basically a bet size where you bet the same amount on turn and river. So you kind of give an exact size, because let's say the pot is 10 big blinds and you're 40 big blinds. The geometric bet there is going to be pot size on the turn and pot size on the river. But if you actually got a stack that is, say, 30, 10, 15, well, say you've got a stack that's 15 big blinds and the pot's 10 big blinds, there you would have a geometric bet that's just 50%, because you'd bet 5 big blinds on the pot, which would make the pot now become 20 big blinds, because if your opponent calls 5 big blinds, then you're adding 10 big blinds to the pot, and your stack has went from 15 to 10 big blinds, so again you've got another half pot bet. So that's why we can't give geometric an exact size. Now when it comes to bets themselves, I'm going to show you some sims, and these are all big blind versus button sims. Now this one here, we have got the sim using 33% and 20% with its whole range almost. There's a bit of 10% and there's a tiny bit of 83 and 125. But I would ignore these sizes here, and I would just go for a simplistic approach of 33%. Because when you look at these two sizes, the EV is equal. And if you look here, it's 3.48 for betting 20% and 3.48 for betting 33%. And as that's the case, I'll just bet 33% with my whole range. And the reason you bet 33% with your whole range is because you've got a massive range advantage over your opponent. And so we start off by betting 33% on the flop. He calls, and this is where the turn geometric can come in. I'll give the turn a 6. Now the 6 is a brick, and because the 6 is a brick, and you see we've got large sizes now, and it's 125% and 83% is what the AI uses, but that's because the geometric size will be something between them. If we go into AI, you should now see it more clearly. We'll give me the 33% I'm suggesting you use. So we're going to bet 33% on the flop. Is called the 6 is on the turn, and you should now see the AI is going to use the geometric size, and can you see it's 109. And just to be sure, I will put 2E in, and there you go, it's still 109. In other words, that's the geometric bet. Now it's hard to work out 109% of the pot in game, and it's hard to figure out that, But if we look at the stack sizes, 10 big blinds, 45 big blinds, well, we could say from that there that the geometric bet size on the turn is just over pot, because if you've got a stack to pot ratio that is 4-1, then that would give you a pot size geometric bet on the turn. Now, one thing that's important, of course, is it has got to be a brick card. Now, if the turn card is, say, a 3, we shouldn't go geometric on this turn, because the 3 is good for the big blind. See? I mean, he's supposed to donk, but if he doesn't donk, there. We are only going 67%. And I am going to add the 2e size in. And this will just to check for sure. See? Still, it uses 67%. It does not go for that 2e size. And that's because if we go for that, we're going to strip it down. 7 X's. There, and mixing. There's not much ace-X in its range. So already, the big blind has got the nuts in its range. And if people then are not going to find the donks themselves, or don't find it enough, it only makes it worse. So because the 3 is an equity shifting card for the big blind, we can't go for that 2e geometric size. Whereas a 6, although it does give 7-6 suited, 6-3 suited, a 2 pair, these are a tiny portion of their overall range. So for that reason, we can actually go geometric on a turn. Another example of a non-geometric turn card would be a heart, because there the big blind has got flushes. I mean, this time there's no donking, of course, because basically we've got flushes ourselves, but that's for another day. And you see, we are not going geometric here on the turn. And I will put the 2e size in. We in fact go for an even small one, and that's very common when there's nuts. You do not like to go geometric. You always want to go smaller. I mean, there's tiny fractions of the range which can go big, which is a shock, but really it's no use trying to figure out that. All you really look at is, you've seen it there, we go 40%. I mean, I use this in mine, but in game I would suggest you just using the 33% size. Now, next board I'm going to show you here is 863. Now 863 for button versus big blind is a board where we actually start off going a big size. The difference between ace 6-3 and 8-6-3 is the ranges are more closer. Can you see? If you look back at this ace 6-3 one, which I'll show you again, you will see how much of a difference the ranges are. And this is why I says you should be watching that GTO Wizard Tutorial 1, understanding ranges first. You can just see here, the button has got a massive range advantage over the big blind across the whole range. But here, the ranges are more closer. And if you look at the equity, big blind has got 46.1% equity here, but in the A63 sim it's got just 43% equity. And like I say, the ranges like that are a bigger advantage. And what the button actually wants to do now in this sort of spot is it takes a more polarized approach, because the ranges are closer, but the button has got a polarizing advantage, because on 863 rainbow The only hands in the big blinds range that are premium are 8-3 suited, 8-6 off and 6-3 suited. And we look here at this filters and we'll see. You should see it there. There you go. Set 2 pair. And you say, that's the only nutted range for the big blind. So basically it's got to defend with some top pairs and second pairs. And when you look here, we will go polarized here on the flop. And there you go. 6Xs have to defend wide. Some 3Xs are still defending. Usually the ones with back doors are going to do that. Of course, every top pair has to defend. And of course there's that tiny slivering of nuts. But the point is, the button takes a more polarized approach on 8-6-3 because there's no nuts in the big blinds range. The button consists of a range that is more or less top pair plus. I mean, it's only got a little bit of 6X, but really that's not very much when you think about how much air it's also got. And when we call, let's say the turn card is a deuce. So the big blind's called here, the turns are 2. There might be some donks on that turn, because now 4-5 is complete. But when we're in position, what do? Again, we are doing 2 sizes there, and it's probably again because it's that size in the middle between them that's going to be that geometric size. So that's why it's mixing between these 2 sizes. It'll probably be a size between 83% and 55%. That'll be a geometric size. Now the next one I'm going to show you as far as bet sizing goes is this monotone board here. Now Queen Jack 10 monotone. You should have seen from the other sim already that when the turn was a monotone turn, we went small, and it's the same on the flop. Queen Jack 10 is a monotone board, so we just go 33%. Now we could make it a monotone one. I mean 8-6-3. We make it 8-6-3, which is the same as that last one, because that's probably a better one to look at. I mean, there's some middling sizes I used here, but also the small. The way I like to look at it is we pick a size down from the size that we use. On its rainbow, we can overbet. If it's 2-tone, which I'll change this one now to a 2-tone, we'll probably go for more 83% sizes there. And then when it's monotone, now it's a more merge betting size. And this is another great useful tool to understand. And as you get better at understanding bet sizes, this is where you start understanding boards, and you can just say to yourself, right, if it's rainbow, 8-6-3 rainbow, if it's 8-6-3, well, we will go for that overbet size. If it's 8-6-3 2-tone, we pick a size down from an overbet. And if it's 8-6-3 monotone, then we pick another size down. Now the next one I'm going to look at is 8-7-4. And now if you look at this one, there's a straight between the 7 and the 4 there. 6-5 does have the straight in its range, but we're not actually going small. And it's again because although there's a straight on this flop here, if we look at these filters, it's only 2.2% of that range. Compare that one to this one actually, where we'll see what is the flushes in the range. 5% of flushes in the range, and then you got these really strong draws. But here in the straight context, 2.2% is straight, and as far as strong draws goes, there's not many strong draws. It's more gut shots, and gut shots, if you think about it, have only got flouts to improve, which is less than half the number of outs a flush draw has to improve. So we still do get to go for a bigger size. But again, it's like we pick the pip down from the size that we use on the very static board. So the 863, we would go for the overbet. Here we go a pip down from an overbet, but we go polarized sizing. And then the call, and then I'll put a turn card like a deuce. And here we go on the turn. We'll now just blast there. So we go for that there. Another thing even you can say is, even if the turn card is actually I'll put a 5, even if the turn card's a 5, we have actually stripped some 6x's, so there is less, but as it's a 5, we will slow down. Now next up, I'm going to show you the fully connected board. Now here, 876 two-tone. Now when we look at the last one, 874 two-tone, there it had 83%. But here, now it's going to 55% and a rate of 33. What's clear here is it likes to go for a more merged bet size. And that's because there's more density around straights and strong draws in the big blinds range. So we look here and we'll filter it. 4.6% is a straight. Then there's actually 27%, which is an open-ended straight draw. And again, that's got twice as many outs as a gut shot has got. And there is, of course, all of them gut shots as well in the range. So there is plenty more, and there's even those flush draws as well. So you've got to be more careful on something like 876. But we do not need to go extremely narrow, because the overall nut equity is not quite as drastic on a straight as it is on a flush, and we want to make more cards break even. So if we go say 20% as it is here, these overcards here are going to be forming most of the missed calls, and they're having happy time calling here. So there's not many folds here, but going 50%, I'll start making these gut shots break even. And you see, King 10, Queen 10 starts to fold, as does these 5 as well. King 5, Queen 5, that's a weak open-ender, and the 4x's are folds. So by going a middle inside, we make them break even. But going back to this one, I mean, here, let's see, what do we make break even by going 33%? These hands here, King, Queen, King, Jack, all of these 2 overcards here are beating break even. And this makes sense because they aren't going to improve all the time when you don't have a heart, because some of their outs are bad. So we don't need to go big as we would do on a straight, because I mean there's not much difference between these sizes when you look. 29% folds there, I mean 41% folds there, but really what is it that's folding? We just start folding the third pairs, and therefore we start causing the range to become too dense around flush draws, which are strong draws, and flushes. But here, I mean, when we go for 33%, as we said, I mean, these ones here still call. I mean, when we go 55%, third pair start mixing, but there, they've still got weak gut shots having to call. So yeah, when it's a straight connecting board, you can go a bit bigger than you can on a monotone board, but it's important when it's a fully straight connected board and a monotone board that's middle, you don't go the gigantic size. The gigantic size is restricted to boards which are something like 863 rainbow or something at worst 874, where there's just that one straight. Now the final bet size I'm going to show you is this one, and now this one is a one where the button has two bet sizes. Yeah, I mean, it's got two bet sizes here. It's got basically the polarized bet, which is basically the ace king. Now I don't know why it's doing that. Something like that there. So this is what I'm trying to show you. You've got this big size there. Sorry about that, people. That's just so unexpected. But yeah, because we've got such a gigantic range advantage over our opponent on ace queen 8 and they stripped of nut, we can play two sizes here. We go big with our ace x's and we merge bet the rest. Now somebody thinking, hang on, wouldn't you do that on ace 6-3 as well? Well, there's a difference. With ace queen 8, there's far more open-enders, gut shots between the ace queen and 8. And when you're a hand like ace king, ace jack, ace 10, these are hands which are super nutted at the minute, but can quickly become a devastation. So we go for an overbet here, and we can start making his king 10 hand fold. 10-9 there is a fold, jack 9 there is a fold. We're stripping out these gut shots from the opponent's range, and if you're an ace king, that is great. But on ace 6-3, gut shots are far more marginal. I mean, the one between the 6 and a 3 is actually a straight draw. And if we do overbet, let's see. What's 5-4 doing? It's still calling. So can you see? 5-4 still calls. I mean, 5-2, we will make 5-2 for, but there's only the suited version of 5-2. There isn't the offsuit version of 5-2. The same with 4-2. There's the suited version of 4-2, but not the offsuit. I mean, there is bits there. You can say 7-5 does fold, but the point is, on ace 6-3, that and there's not as many gut shots as there are on ace queen 8. So because of that, we actually go big with our nutted hands on ace queen 8 to make these gut shots here break even and fold out the worst ones, whereas here we're happy to just go small on the flop and then blast the turn. And just to be sure, let's have a look and see. Right, what I'll do, I'll go for this small size, which I'm sure keeps gut shots in play there, and I'll give a gut shot on the turn. So you can see there 83% size is still used for us. 83%. Now on this one, I'll go small on the flop, and I'll give it 10. And let's just see. So that completes loads of gut shots. And there you go, see? There's a bit of overbetting, but there's more smaller betting gets used here on the turn compared to up here. I mean, 15.8% goes small, but 19.4 goes big there. Here, 24.2 goes small compared to 15.1%. But this is it now, folks, for bet sizing today. I mean, I could go on more, but I thought I'd leave it as this. But I think what you should understand, hopefully, from this is you should hopefully learn better when we want to use that small size, when we should be going big, and when it comes to seeing GTO Wizard using multiple sizings and stuff, you can either merge them into one size that's between the two sizes, or on an example like this, you can just put the certain part of the range that wants to go a big size and the rest go small. And you should also understand when it is we want to slow down because of nutted hands, and when it is that we can go big, which boards we can go big because nuts marginal and which we want to really slow down because the nuts high. And there are other things as well, but what is I'm going to end this now for today, and next week I will do the final one of my 3 GTO Wizard tutorials, and that's going to be both the bet sizing and the ranges put together in one, as I explain how we can take advantage of ranges and bet sizings. And it'll be again studying big blind versus button. But thank you, people. Please click the subscription and the follow button if you like it, and leave any chats in the chat.